Hello and welcome to another Captain's Table podcast. My name is Paul Berserker01, Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the Astropub, your professor at the Astro Historian, and your moderator here at the Captain's Table podcast. This is one of the oldest podcasts in the Star Citizen community, been around since like 2017, 2016, and we're on 9 years. So yeah, 17, right? Yeah. No, 16. So we've been doing this for 9 years. And
it's a good thing you don't teach math.
No, I don't teach math. It's really bad because like I constantly get confused about when was the LA Citizen Con, and then how that relates to the release of 2.0, and then when was the Austin Citizen Con, because it was like LA, Frankfurt, Austin, and then
and then Manchester, and then a funny thing happened.
Yeah, and back to LA. I was 12 when I started this podcast. Yes, someday Star Citizen will come out. All right, so
we've definitely aged disgracefully. That's for sure.
So this is a podcast that talks about Star Citizen, lore's news and more. Some speculation. Today is a one of those speculation episodes because this is something that came up in my mind because CAG had recently reached out to a bunch of content creators, and you may have not heard this yet, but they specifically were asking for content creators and possibly other members of the community to promote the ship that they want to see win for Ship Showdown. So they were asking for suggestions for us to give. And so that was me and X were talking about doing something like that. And I thought, let's just do a Captain's Table talking about what Ship Showdown is. Is it still viable? And then also our own thoughts of what's probably going to be in the Ship Showdown this year. So this is sort of a preview for the Ship Showdown. We'll do probably another episode when that actual is happening, so you can kind of know what's going on, and then one for the actual voting for it. So, all right. Before we do that, though, let's introduce everybody. We're starting with Darionator, Prince of Pluto, Emperor of Uranus. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen? And where can they find you?
That's gonna stick. Emperor of Uranus. Right.
Yes. It's a fun story.
Exactly.
The joke was that I thought he was from Romania. He's not from Romania. He is in fact from Slovenia. And so I just, after I realized that he wasn't from Romania, I just started joking that he's from Transylvania, and then that he's from like the Cayman Islands, and then eventually just started evolving until he became Emperor of Pluto, and then Prince of Pluto, and then Emperor of Uranus. Yeah. So
it's the same as when someone goes New Zealand, Australia, close enough.
Yeah. So, Darionator, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen? Where can they?
Hello, I am Darionator. I usually talk ship on this podcast, and this week it will be no different. But primarily, I also model ships at JRDF, model ship kits, I would say, based on Star Citizen ships, like this one over here. And
that's so Raven.
They were Raven.
So that's the latest kit that we released. It's on JRDF.ac if you want to check it out. But that's pretty much what it's been keeping me busy these days, unless I'm actually in Manchester at the studio, because I'm also doing stuff that's top secret that I can't talk about.
So CIG Darsh has confirmed that Squad 42 is releasing in the next 6 months.
It's releasing. That's all I can say.
All right, and then we've got Mr. Execute. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen? Where can they find you? I did fix your name. It was X.
Yeah, I was gonna say you ruined my joke. You've there was so many jokes about you being a teacher and my name makes whatever.
To be fair, I did say, is everything looks good? And you said, yeah, because it's 6 o'clock in the morning there. Yeah.
Just welcome to the show, because I think from the times I've been on, Paul has misspelled my name at the beginning of the show more times than he has not.
Yeah.
Professional. He's the hashtag professional, as DG would say.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm a part of the
the only thing that makes a professional is getting paid for it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the literal definition. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I'm part of the Infrunners. We talk about ships and shit. I don't know what else to say. I'm really bad at this. Like, I'm just a guy that likes this game. There we go. And I talk about it a lot. Did you see what happened yesterday's show?
No.
So there was the small clips that Alfred lost it. He went off his tits. Woo! I got in so much trouble. Woo! And like the whole chat was going bad, like mad at me because he's got like heart condition. He's like raging like a crazy mofo. My God, I felt so bad.
What was he raging about?
Because he kept bringing up the RSI Mantis.
Yeah.
And the question was about the ships from the Blue Silhouette or the White Fighter from Kruger. I'm like, why are you mentioning the RSI Mantis? And I found out later, like after we got the show, he goes, so let me just explain and listen. And then he did it in such a long-winded way. And I said, but if you just said this, and he went, oh yeah. So it was both our faults. Like he trying to be very long-winded and explain it in a really retarded way, and me not listening. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who are you? Oh yeah. So you're just a guy who likes Star Citizen. You also help run the runners and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm one of those guys too, I should say.
Yeah. I think most of us is like this game.
Yeah.
I've been covering this pretty much as long as Paul. About the same. I don't know. We're somewhere in there. We haven't really got dates, but yeah. I did a podcast before Infrunners, and now we do Infrunners. What's to say? I'm really bad at self-promotion. I'm just a guy. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Nothing special.
You help coordinate. You help coordinate a bunch of us crazy people who work together to do Infrunners and do various shows. So, all right. Let's get started with the discussion because I wanted to talk about the Ship Showdown, and we'll start off with, because there could be people in this chat or who are watching this right now who don't know what Ship Showdown is. Maybe they're new to to Star Citizen. Maybe they haven't really paid attention to it, which, to be fair, understandable. It's kind of not great.
Sounds so much like Jared right now. Every Ship Showdown is someone's first showdown.
Hey, you know what? Yeah. It also extends the time. All right, so it's always good for the YouTube algorithm. But so Ship Showdown.
Has it been 10 minutes yet? Can we swear yet?
No, we still got about 3 minutes left. So.
Okay.
Well, I've done it like 4 times already, so yeah, whatever.
Australian. You have an Australian filter. It's fine.
Cool.
So Ship Showdown, for everyone who doesn't know, is an annual event that happens towards the end of the year. It usually happens in August, is when they first start to do the July is when they start collecting the candidates, and then in August they choose the candidates, and then at the end of August they do the full. Like from between August and September, they actually do the voting. And it basically what it is the players get to choose what is the best ship of the year. And whatever the best ship of the year is, the best ship of the year usually gets a special sale during IAE, which is in November. And then the second and third place also get special skins. Like the first, second, and third get special skins. They get a special sale. And then if you own the best ship, you usually have a bunch of different add-ons you get. Like one year we got a backpack and stuff like that. Is it the fourth as well?
5, Paul.
Is it 5?
5? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was top 3.
I will say this though. In 2951 or 2021, the Argo MPU V1, we crowned the king, and that's final.
Yeah.
Every Ship Showdown since has been a sham.
I mean, that's been my problem too, and we can get into that really, really quickly. So people are saying it's not 3 or 5; it's 4.
Correct.
Yeah, it's 4.
No, they are correct.
It's 4.
No, they're correct. It is 4, and then the last one gets a super duper skin or some shit, and it gets something like a backpack or some shit as well. It's fucking.
You get extra stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
The idea is that you get a skin. Is the big one. You get the 4 skins. Each of the ships get the skins. So if you get a 4
skin, you get a 4 skin. Everyone gets
a 4 skin.
Yeah.
It's like the reverse Briss.
I will say execute. It is Star Citizen. They're all spaceships and they're all penises,
Yeah.
so that's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
You are.
Yes,
That is such a breath of fresh air you've got there, Paul. Yeah. Yeah.
especially the Carrack. Like the Carrack has it's like a white shaft. The Expedition has a white shaft, and you have the pink cockpit at the front.
Yeah.
Mm.
What was the joke that ran around about the whole sea? Like, just take a look at the freaking silhouette. It is a penis.
Yeah.
All Star Citizenships penises. All right, some are just weirdly shaped. That's all.
You could redo that opening from Austin Powers when everybody just went around, saying thanks, and you have like a radar screen of a ship going up. You could just replace that with the hull C, and it would just.
Someone literally did that.
Nobody would.
Someone
notice.
literally
And
did
they
that.
did?
Yeah,
And I thought it was being original. God damn it!
I remember that one.
They didn't do it in game though. That's how they should have done
yes,
it.
they should have done it in game with in-game people.
Right.
Yeah. So the it's a contested thing because a lot of people really want their special snowflake ship to get a skin, and that's really the what people are on about. But as Darji is correct, in 2021, to be fair, in 2020, a content creator who I don't think does content anymore, Redlear, did wanted to get the MPUV as the main ship to win Ship Showdown, but just didn't make the cutoff. So in 2021, myself and a bunch of other people, including a lot of the info runners, said it would be really fucking funny if the Argo MPUV won. And so we started doing a campaign to get Redlear's ship, the joke ship, the MPUV, to win. And it was the first year that the Carrack was available for Ship Showdown. And my God, did we piss off a lot of the community by getting this to happen. It was the most engaging.
Still got to the top 4.
Yeah.
So.
It was not to mention marketing got really pissed off too.
No, the Carrack didn't get the top 4 that one.
No,
because it was going head to head against the MPUV
in one of the earlier
in the
rounds.
semifinals. In the second round, not in the semis.
Quarterfinals, yeah. If it was in the semifinals, it would have automatically got the skin. But
whatever the ship is this year, we've got to put it up against the 600i because the 600i now officially has more skins than anything else from Best in Show.
Oh, so apparently
it's been in every single one.
Apparently, I got a raid, and people are being super salty because I didn't acknowledge the raid. Hi, y'all.
Busy.
I'm focusing on a podcast, so thank you for the raid.
Podcast time,
but it's
not
podcast.
Time, yeah.
So,
who was the raid from?
It's from Citizen Spooner. So,
nice to meet you, Spooner. Nice to see you.
Yeah. Your boys are getting a little mad that I didn't give you proper deference, I guess. So, but let's move on to the actual like structure of it, because and I'll start with you on this one, Execute. What are your thoughts on the structure of Ship Showdown, how it works? Because for those who don't know, I guess I should also explain. Each ship that wins goes head to head with each other. So it's like 12 ships, I want to say. Maybe it's 10 ships. I can't remember exactly. 16. So 16 ships go get chosen from this sort of initial list. And we don't know why they get chosen. They just get chosen based off of the engagement or whatever that is. Sure, CIG has a metric. And then those 16 ships go head to head with each other, and then they choose which ones go head to head. There's no like categorization.
The sort of engagement isn't like they have like the drive and people post fan art and screenshots and stuff like that to the community hub that is woefully underused otherwise, and then from that sort of engagement they choose the top 16.
Yeah, I've never really kind of understand why making pumpkin soup has got anything to do with what type of ship wins, because they have some really weird entries into that thing. Like I can crochet a Pisces or whatever, and yet if you've got no artistic talent at all, you can't put your ship in. It's a bit weird. I just think they should
You just made pumpkin soup then.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's so weird. I just think they should basically do every ship in the game and just everyone votes for them. And the ones with the most votes, just the top 16 go in.
I don't know.
Um,
Being an artistic person, I really like everything that the community comes up with, and it speaks to me. That sort of contest.
so
I've just got to mention democracy and freedom, and half the US people will be on board with me. That's all I've got to do.
So X, what is your problem? What is your problem? Is it with the selection of how they choose it, or is it with the head-to-head? What is it?
It feels a little bit made up, and the points don't matter. And then the ones that they don't want to win, they'll deliberately put up against shit that'll get absolutely slaughtered. Like, we've seen it over and over again. Like, they put the cut up against the 890 jump. We've seen the Carrack versus the MPUV. They wanted the MPUV dead, so they put up against the Carrack, and it failed. They don't realize the power that we are the community will just deliberately go against you.
Which is why they don't want to have the entire ship roster up for voting, because it will be a catastrophe.
Yeah,
it'll be what we want, not what they want. That's exactly what this is. It proves the entire point. This is a marketing shit show. It is not a ship showdown. It is a shit show down, or a shit down. I don't know how to say that.
Shit showdown. Yeah.
Shit showdown.
Yeah, shit showdown. Yeah.
Darsh, your thoughts on it so far?
Well, like I said, I personally, I kind of like everything that the community comes up with. It's every year there's new stuff. I'm not one to come up with these things. Like I don't have my brain's not organized well to create like events for engagement and stuff like that. So I have absolutely no idea of any other way that they could improve it. I don't know, but like you said, execute democracy and stuff. There's no democracy in the empire. Sorry.
You're not a citizen. You don't get to vote.
Yeah. But yes, and it just I will come every day just to see how the votes come, just because just watching that is also because you can just tell when different parts of the world are waking up, because some ships and some manufacturers are more popular in Europe versus US versus Asia, and then you can just track the balance of the votes changing.
I would really like to know what ships they like in Asia. Actually, I'm really interested.
Or I would say Origin a lot, just going from their tastes in cars and how ostentatious they are, and how European brands are changing just to appease like the Chinese market. Like, the latest BMW designs are nothing but appeasing, like appealing to the Chinese market.
Have you ever
grills and everything?
Have you ever been in one of those? I can't remember the brand of the car. It starts with B. It's a Chinese-made car.
BYD.
Yeah, man, those cars are madly awesome on the inside. Like, I just really radically different. I got an Uber a couple of weeks ago, and the guy was Chinese, and he was driving one, and I was just like blown away. I'm like, what? This is amazing.
They're banned in the US. We can't. We literally can't buy them in the US because it's
freedom. Yeah. Sorry.
And they're also on the forefront of electric technology. I think they have actually overtaken Tesla when it comes to electric drivetrains, which were the best in the Western world.
That reminds me, we definitely need to still do that show about with you and Tomato Darsh talking about vehicles in Star Citizen.
Yes.
Because for those who don't know, Darsh is a gearhead. So Darsh loves cars and all the sorts of things.
This weekend, just like the previous weekend, I'm already counting this as the weekend. There was the 24 hours of the Nürburgring, and I set up for the entire thing. So
yeah, nice.
Speaking of little cars, that's another thing I've just remembered: the PTV.
Oh gosh. You want me to explain it, or do you want to explain what happened?
Well, you explain yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know, after the MPUV won, CIG was very determined to never let the community make make this sort of thing happen again. So when they saw that the people who were supporting the MPUV this year, the next year, 2022 or 2952, so we're supporting the PTV, CIG came ahead and said, we're removing the PTV, even though technically it should be, it should be on there. We're removing it from contention. And then they made up an excuse saying it wasn't fully ready for skins. So in honor of everyone wanting to get the skins or to get this onto the thing, they would, when they updated the PTV to the new skin system, they would give everyone a free skin who had a PTV.
And we were promised that would be within 18 months.
Yes.
And it's now been 3 years.
Yes.
Yeah. And the concept is looking quite sexy. And as soon as it's out, we're relaunching the PTV as a kit, I want to say.
Okay.
Because
so they have worked on it, but you obviously can't say when. But okay, that's okay. That actually puts me a little bit at ease. Okay.
But I mean, that's an example of like a lot of people are still.
If that's how you want to interpret my words, but I'm just saying, as soon as it's out, we're relaunching the kit.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just from what you said, it sounds like they've worked on it, so that's fine. Yeah. It means that there's
the concept that's out. That's all I've seen.
It just means that the skin is coming. Yeah. Well, they've probably also worked on the UTB, because we also heard about that 2 years ago as well. And we haven't got that yet either.
Yeah.
And
Steve is the only thing we've got.
Yeah. I love Steve.
Steve is cool though. Yeah, Steve is cool.
And then we've got the MTC now. So, so like that whole thing, like personally, I don't like the way it currently works, mostly because it's so random. If they had,
why wasn't it MTV? Why was it like you had TV? Everything was TV, and then you went, MTC. Vehicles. Like no MTV.
X.
MTV died decades ago.
Yes. Stop trying to bring MTV back. That's the reason why. That's the reason why it's not called the MTV, is because CIG's lawyers are very smart in trying to not get sued.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
It's like the Vulture. Everyone claims it's like the what's it, the Venture from Elite or from Eve.
Eve from Eve.
Yeah, and it's like they called it the even if it was not, even if it wasn't like inspired at all by the Venture, it's straight up like CIG probably took 2 looks at it. The legal team took 2 looks at it, and somebody was like, who played Eve, was like, this is a Venture. And they're like, oh shit, we shouldn't name it or do our best to keep away from this as possible. But anywho, the I don't like the system as it stands, because the system as it stands now is entirely random, and CIG can manipulate it whatever they want to, which I don't like, because the concept of the idea is the community chooses the ships. And if it feels like, and it doesn't mean if it is or not, if the feels like, if the optics are that the community doesn't choose the ships, that CIG just chooses whatever they want, and then they decide to, and then if they manage to, like, if something manages to get through, then CIG can always, as we've seen, just throw a popular ship up against another popular ship early on in the ranks, so they don't have to make a skin for it or to do anything. What it feels like is that CIG gets a bearing, uses the metrics that they gather for choosing whichever the top 16 are going to be. And then whatever those 16 are, they run it past the ship team, and the ship team goes, we don't want to make a skin for X, Y, or Z ship. And then these are the ships we'd prefer. And so CIG intentionally sets the brackets up so that those ships are going to be the ones that win, rather than letting the community decide, because it might be too difficult for them.
They should say in advance that these ships are ineligible just because they're not technically set up to.
That would be the responsible way to do it, but they don't communicate.
Yeah. No. What they should,
because they would just say, if it wins, you're not going to get the skin. So it made because we're not set up for it, and you can wait, or you can just wait for to vote for it when it's ready. So that would be the responsible thing to do. Yeah, like I said. But yeah,
Cause and effect. If you don't treat people like adults, they're not going to act like adults, are they?
that's what they get MTOV the crown kin.
I do think that the reason why the thing they should do, I should say, is they should be with this whole thing. It should be focused on best in class, because I mean that's how cars do it. Cars don't put like a freaking an SUV next to a sedan and go like, which of these cars is better? It's like, for what?
There's still just an overall car of the year that they choose
But
year.
that's what I mean. What you do is you have your best in class voting, and then you take the best in class voting and you put them against each other head to head, and then whoever wins that wins. And then that way and then you say everything in the best in class will win a skin. That means that you have
that would take months.
Well, because you could just take the top 4 from the best in class for each month.
It's also certain categories that miss out. So they had what was it last year where they had like a weird like other class. It was just like and the ships, if you look through, it was all basically like a lot of the ships were the same thing, and then there's just like all this other shit combined together. It was really, really weird how it was done last year, if you go back and look.
But like the way it's currently set up, there's never going to be a vehicle that wins.
Yeah.
No. Well, again, I've got this genius idea. How about we have vehicle showdown and it's 6 months on the other side?
Do
in
it
the other lull period, like in January.
Yeah.
Or whatever,
voting on it and then doing it like over a year rather than doing it in like the last 4 months. Yeah.
Atmos should do it.
Yeah, and it would also give you individual, like you could do weekly votes, so you could say, or like bi-weekly votes, so you could do a post, be like, hey, vote for this one this week, and then you move on. So it's more engagement that way. But
if they weren't overly busy, I would say Atmos should do it, just because ground vehicles, it's entirely what they do, other than the dueling thing. But
the other thing that kind of becomes a bit annoying is how do I put this? I can't. Sorry.
It's super early for you.
No, I had it, and then Daj interrupted me, and I forgot. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It'll come back.
It'll come back. So I am unhappy with how it currently sits, because I feel like it's not within the spirit of what it should be. The spirit should be whatever the community really likes. Like, for instance, this year, the Idris is going to win. The Idris of the Polaris. They're going to be in the top 4 if CIG doesn't do some weird shenanigans. But like the MTC,
this is related to that, by the way. What I've remembered now.
But then like the MTC, which is actually pretty fun, or say the Prowler Ute, which is actually pretty fun. I've used it.
They're not eligible.
Yeah,
they've got to be out for. Haven't they got to be out for at least the last 12 months?
No, they just have to have been out before this voting.
Okay.
Because if that was the case, then the Idris wouldn't be available. Neither would be the Polaris. So it just has to be out and ready and flyable before. But like another good example is the Intrepid wouldn't win anything because nobody likes that damn shit. But smaller ships.
Well, the CS, like Dell says there in chat, the CSV SM.
Yeah, it's neat, but it's never going to win because it's just not a. It's a truck that people wanted, but it's like no one's going to vote for it except for people who like that stuff. The starter ships will never win. The Aurora, the Alpha, the
Cutter's been the closest.
Yeah, and it'll still never win because you're putting it head to head with like the F8 or the F7A or something like that.
I think it could win, but it's when they do the voting, and that's what I wanted to talk about, because they always do it in the lull period, and the only people that are around during the lull period are us hardcore people that basically follow the game all the time.
Yeah.
But if you did it when, and I don't like to use the term, but when a lot of the normies are around, like if you did it during AIE or Invictus, you'd have a lot better sense of what the community as a whole likes.
Mm-hmm.
And I guarantee you it would be a much more regularly used ship. And it would not be one of those really big ships. It wouldn't be an Origin ship. It wouldn't be anything capital. It'd be something in that middle ground, like a Zeus or a Spirit or something like that. That's probably what would win.
Every so often, like the first Ship Showdown, the Cutlass won. You know, and I think the Cutlass won for 2 years in a row. It didn't win, but it placed 2 years in a row.
The top 4, yeah.
Yeah. And then the Caterpillar was one there. The first Ship Showdown was the Cutter or the Cutlass, the Caterpillar, the Reclaimer, and the M50. I think were the 4 that were the top. And then the next year it was the Cutlass, and then I couldn't remember the other ones. I just remember the Cutlass placed twice. It was like, and then that was the year. The year after that was the year that we had the MPUV. It's only been around for a couple years.
Win that year? The Carrack won that, I think.
No, the Carrack won the year after the MPUV.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it won twice.
What they
should
did
do
win
twice.
Is the
it won
top
twice.
4 should be ineligible from next year.
The MSR won one of them.
Yes, I think that was the first one. It was not the M50, it's the MSR. Might have been the second one, but yeah.
Oh god, man, it's so long ago now.
Yes. But all right, I'll ask you, Darsh, on this one. For then we'll go into the actual, like, for this year, what we're thinking about. What small ways would you like to see CIG improve this going forward?
Well, I just said top 4 are ineligible for next year.
Okay.
Just to avoid the Cutlass winning twice.
Yeah.
Just for 1 year. What else? Some sort of transparency in how the ships are actually chosen. But it is subjective. It's like whoever's choosing this is going by not only how well the posts on the community hub do, but what they think of them. Like it's not just counting the votes, but it's also judging them themselves, and that's one of the metrics by which they get in, and quantifying that I don't feel like is exactly feasible. Like they could just say, okay, these are the most upvoted posts on the community hub, but then what the ships that actually go in aren't exactly those. And about what gets pitted against what, that I think is the area that they could improve the most. Like how that is chosen. Should the community choose that?
No. Do you want me to tell you my fix?
Yeah.
So instead of doing these weird, bizarre banana categories, I think it's really simple. It'll work for marketing, and I think it'll work for us as well. Is literally 4 sizes: small, medium, large, and capital. It covers all 4 size categories. It means that there'll be a ship at every price point, which marketing will be happy, but it also means all of us will be happy, because if you're a new person, you there's the starter ship with the skin, there's the medium ship with the skin, there's the large ship, and there's the capital. So all 4 people are capital. Nobody's fighting. It's not all the top end of town or the bottom end of town. It's got none of that stuff.
So
when you get to the
semifinals, you have one of each.
Yeah.
Yes.
And one of each gets the skin, and then you just find out which.
Which
Yeah,
of those
that
4?
actually makes sense. So when they first started out, I don't think there would have been enough of a roster in each of those categories
No.
to make sense. But
especially capital.
These days,
especially,
yeah. But these days they could definitely do the adjustment.
And if they want to, if they want to go one step further, you could actually increase it to 6 and have S1 through to S6 if they really wanted to go a step further.
The only thing I would argue against that is that I think you need a starter ship.
Considering the bracket, considering the bracket architecture.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if you have
4 is enough.
If you have S through 1 through to 6, that includes everything, because then you can have things like Javelin, Kraken, Endeavor, Orion, they're all up there, and then all the way down to all the snubs as well. So everything from a snub all the way up to a capital would get one. It just means they're going to make 2 extra skins.
In terms of how the bracket works, it has to be a power of 2, and when you get to a semifinal, you can't have a 3v3. It kind of has to be a power of 2. Like Jen and Tonic says. So I think just 4, it's fine. It's not also not overly complicating it compared to what we have right now. Your original idea, I think, was better. It fits with the format of selection more than 6.
I do think that, because the problem is that when you go to that small size, like a Hornet is in the same category as an Aurora.
Well, the only problem with the idea is like you said, there is just a lot more ship. The lower you go, the more competition there is.
Yes.
So you are more likely at the top end. So if you look at S5 ships and up, so the S5 and 6, you could scale it so that there is, maybe it's S1, S2,
3 and 4,
3
5
and
and 6.
4, 5 and 6, or something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Or you could still
so
do
the numbers are spread out.
Small, medium, large, capital, but then you just also do a second category, which is sort of like a pity category, where you say what's the best starter ship, and everyone just votes for the best starter ship. And
but then you also have vehicles, and vehicles are never going to be included if you only do 1
That's
through
true.
4 in sizes.
Yeah.
So what if we just increased it to 8 categories?
8.
Yeah.
8.
One
vehicle, starter, 1
Yeah.
small, medium, large, capital, or that's 6. That's still works.
No.
Power of two.
S1 through 6, and then vehicle, and then a random.
Yeah.
As in, like,
A joker.
Marketing pick.
Oh.
And they call it the joker category. Yeah, there you go. Marketing pick the one that they want.
Or internal CIG.
Yeah, CIG get to pick on. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, CIG's best in show.
CIG picks 6 what sizes 1 through to S6 and vehicles. Bang, done.
Yeah.
There's your 8.
Yeah.
Okay, solved it.
There we go.
Ship it. Yeah, done.
I mean, the thing is that anything changes towards any sort of more inclusion is going to be better in general. I think X already said, I said it myself. Basically, it's the same idea. The only thing I would do is size 1 through 6, and then a vehicle, and then a starter ship category. And that way you have 1 through 6, and then vehicle and starters, which will be the similar. So,
well, the funny thing is that episode you and I did on marketing. It's like, why haven't marketing figured this out? Because there's much better ways they could be doing it for themselves. That's the thing that really surprises me.
I just don't think it's because they have the same. They have the code written. All they have to do is change the banners. Is all they have to do. So they already have all of the back end work done. I've talked with marketing and not marketing with the community team enough to know that like pretty much the only time the community team gets any resources for the website or for them to do is between May and August. That's their time frame, which is the reason why we're getting the revamped store. The revamped referral system this month.
Oh, okay.
It's every July they have some new thing from community. It's the community hub. It's the referral program. It's always like around in July.
With what, over 1,000 people working at CIG, they still don't have enough people for all the things that we want.
Nope, or that they want.
Or that they want. Yeah,
which is the problem. Is they have to fight for those people who would be building those things.
Which, according to Jared, they want them 2 weeks before we want them.
Yeah. So
actually, what Monster Avey said there's not a terrible idea either. Combine the top end and the very low end. So he's got all vehicles and size 1s, then size 2, size 3s, then size 4, all the way to size 6s together. That gives you 4 categories. That actually is not so bad.
Yeah, and whoever wins would get it. And at the very least, you'd get a small, medium, large, and capital, which I think is better than nothing. But
but it does mean things like Connies and Corsairs would be going up against the Javelin. That is a very large size. Yeah, just so you realize that's quite a large gap.
I don't even know like if these are arbitrary sizes that you guys just made up, or is it actually official sizing?
CIG uses size 0 through size 6 as their internal metrics for where basically it's a pad, size 0 through size 6 pads.
Yeah,
because we call them
I
extra small, all that kind of stuff, but CIG calls them 0 through 6.
Yeah.
And the developers get confused because they also used to use the internal names of small, medium, large, and tiny and all that, but they're actually like out of kilter with what we call them. So they'd say something like that on a show, and they were correct from an internal perspective, but external, we would be like, "What do you mean that doesn't work?
What's an extra small hanger?"
Yeah. I've just started using the 0 through the 6 thing because it's just so much easier to understand. Yeah, no confusion.
Okay.
All right. I mean, I think
CIG stuff never.
We fixed Ship Showdown. There you go, CIG. That's for free. But let's talk about the actual Ship Showdown coming out this year, because this year is probably unique. I think this is the first year in a long time where we've had a ton of ships release, vehicles and ships release, what will be eligible just from last year. because like last year was in August, and since last August, we've had the Star Lancers, both the Star Lancers. We had the what else has come out? I've only focused on that. I think
Golem.
The Golem. We've had the F7M Super Hornet. We've had the Idris. We've had the Polaris.
The Ghost.
You're forgetting all. That's funny how you're forgetting all the shit ones. It's like they were crap, and you can't remember them. Like the Firebird, and who can forget the Peregrine Tooch?
Yeah,
like
the Firebird, the Peregrine. I'm trying to think of the other ones. The MTC, the
says the FM. Who came up with that name?
The Ghost, the Ghost, the Tracker, the Hornet Ghost and Tracker. The
Guardian,
the Guardian. The three Guardians, the Intrepid, the Asgard,
Fortune,
the Fortune, like this. That's like 15 ships have come out since.
MTC.
Yeah, I already said the MTC. Yeah,
should have been MTV. Anyway.
Yeah. Also, I would just say one of the things if they
and
Asgard.
Go ahead.
The Asgard of ship releases, only ships released in the previous 12 months are eligible.
That could be That would be insane.
So it's only new ones, not old ones?
Yeah, because
only new ones.
That's how cars work. When they do those sorts of big things, they only choose the new cars. So
that means the old ones would all be taken in contention. That would fix a lot of problems, actually.
But it would only work. Yeah, because like the Atlas Geo and the Atlas also came out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I won an Icti, like the combat one in purple and green, best in show skin, because
but there's a lot, right? So this year there's been a lot. So the question is, what is your, not pick, but what is your belief what's going to happen? What are ships we're going to see, the top 4 ships, or even like of the 16 ships that might make it? X?
No, Darsh can go first.
Go start Darsh? Okay. Darsh.
Oh God. I think the Fat Fury is
the Guardian.
The combat one. Yeah, the different one. If was it not the Mantis variant? Was it called the
Meteor?
Oh, the Meteor.
Yeah. The Meteor. If they can get that out before the vote starts, potentially.
It's out next month.
Just because the newest.
Yeah.
And Idris or Polaris, one of those two definitely, if not both. But I'm sure they will pit them against each other in an earlier stage, so they don't get both in the semifinals. And then just for the lulz, the Icti, or just one of the Atlases. Yeah, I want an Atlas DS just so you can put someone in, on your backpack so they can shoot backwards.
There's a great anime which has something like that called Blue Gender, and one of the mechs in Blue Gender is a dual seat mech. We have somebody in the front and somebody in the back is like a Rio seat, and the person who's in the front is just driving, just piloting it, and the person in the back controls the arms to punch. So
nice.
That would be kind of cool, is to have somebody who's just piloting and the other person's job is to like aim the guns on the arms for the ATLS.
That would require a much bigger thing. Yeah. ATLS is barely big enough to have one person.
You'd have to have 2, and you'd have to like up the guns to like size like 4s or whatever. Put some missiles on the back, baby.
What we want is Jaegers.
Yes.
We want Jaegers.
Yes. We want to be in the drift, CIG. X, your thoughts. What do you think we're going to see at the top?
I think it's whatever the meme ship is that we pick. No, I'm gonna be honest. There's only one ship left that doesn't have a skin, and I think it's really obvious that that's the one we're gonna pick. And I'll let you talk about that, Paul.
Well, that's my favorite. It's one I want to win. But
that's a lot. It's a lot of people's favorites. Actually, Algrid's favorite, SA's favorite. They've all been talking about it with me. So yeah.
We will. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just do this right now. People have been asking me in the past, because I was one of the people who helped wrangle the win for the MPUV. Ever since then, people always come back and say, "Paul, what are we doing this year?" And this is the first year that I've actually cared enough to say, "All right, we'll do something," which is the Gladiator.
A Redeemer.
The Redeemer. Yes, the Redeemer. Lol. So good.
The Gladiator, partially because that ship deserves a lot more love than it currently has. And secondly, and I know a lot of people say, well, it sucks. It doesn't suck. You just haven't flown it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's really good now. It's a really good ship. And it's the second that thing gets bombs that it can put on it, it becomes the best multi-role combat fighter you have ever had. It becomes an F-16. Well, not really combat, like that sort of thing. But this thing will be an air-ground beast when it comes to what it needs to do.
Can you show this photo?
Oh yeah,
I just sent you a photo in group chat. So that's a photo of SA's mouse pad, and that's a variant of the Gladiator that we don't have. When Algra and I were talking to Ben and John for lunch, when we got to sit down with them, Algra talked about will it eventually get the bombing variant as opposed to the torpedo variant, and I'd actually like to see them remove the turret like it is in this screenshot on the mouse pad. And make that a variant.
I'm gonna see if they can still hear us, but I'm gonna show the screen real quick. I think they can still hear us. Yeah. So that's the image right there. For those of you who are listening to the podcast, it's the original design of the Gladiator. So like we're like early, like the concept design is what it looks like. So
yeah.
So
I reckon that'd be a really cool variant to eventually get. And like you did all these onboarding ships, why the hell didn't you go back and do that one? Like
a reground up, to ground up.
Yeah, like it literally the Hornets had 2 upgrades in its lifetime, or passes, or whatever you want to call it. Gladiator's never had one in all that time. Which is why it now doesn't have a skin, because it needs it. So it's got to be on. Again, if CIG just came out and said, "Yeah, we're looking to work on that thing in the next 12 months," I'd be fine.
Yeah.
Again, it's the same thing with what you said before about the PTV. If we know that they're actually have got plans for it, again, they told us 18 months, and it's been 3 years. So again, just do a bit of communication, CIG, and all of these problems disappear.
I also think it's got a significant amount of lore to it. It has a lot of lore.
Those older ones do. All of them do, because they just had so much more time to write shit.
And it's clear that it had a bigger role. It probably doesn't have as much of a role in Squadron 42 Part 1, but it definitely had a huge role in Squadron 42 in the original drafts, because that's one of the first ships they made. So it was clearly they needed to make it.
I think the Retaliator replaced it, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, well, the Retaliator was the first ship that that Manchester made. So
well, you think that cinematic we saw last year, right? That was the Retaliator's flying, and put a Gladiator there, and go, that makes so much more sense, because it was a squadron of fighters, not a bomber.
Yeah.
And someone's gone, no, we need like a B-52 bomber.
Yeah. I think
Dash's just face says it all. It's just he's smirking like a motherfucker. Or he's constipated. I can't quite make it out. Yeah.
Just haven't pooped today yet, so. I was just thinking about about your comment and picturing that scene when it would have made more sense with Gladiators, and considering I have absolutely no idea about actual naval engagements
I mean it more in the times of the original plan. Like if you look at the kind of order the ships came out in, you can kind of tell that the plan would have originally been Hornets and Gladiators, and then as the plan and the games evolved, they've gone, no, we really should make this bigger and grander, and that's where the Retaliators come in, I think.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say.
The Gladiator is the most wing commander of the ships that came out, other than the Hornet. They're both very wing commander design. And I think the Hornet was originally pitched. Yeah, and the Gladius. But I think it was pitched when pitched as when Squadron 40 was pitched as a wing commander sequel. I think the Hornet and the Gladiator were probably the pitch that they used. That concept art,
I think we've got to be honest. Like, it's probably going to get the same treatment the Hornet got. Like, it's going to get that look upgrade and stuff like that. The newer Hornets don't look like the older Jace Aerospace. They kind of look a bit more modern. And let's be honest, like if you kind of look at the way you get into the Gladiator, it's a pain in the butt. But when you actually go out and fly that thing, it actually feels And I don't mean old as in old because it's buggy. I mean in old, it actually feels like an old World War II bomber. Like
Yeah.
it actually has that feel. And the way it works, you can actually picture those two guys working together in total harmony to pull off a mission. Like you can see it how it would work. It just doesn't fully articulate in the game properly. And I think when they get that working, I think the Gladiator will be very popular, especially as an actual bomber.
Mhm.
Like because it's small. It's essentially like because you look at how the game's evolved. You've also got the Eclipse now,
Mhm.
right? You put all these things together. It's just like, well, there's just so many other ships that have come in. The Gladiator needs something to like
Differentiate it.
bring it up a notch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And having the ability to carry torpedoes and then also on the wing sponsons carry bombs means you can take care of large ships with the torpedoes, and then if you want to attack ground targets, you can drop bombs, or you can swap it out for missiles, and that kind of stuff. So, anyways, that my take comes from a lot of different angles because I think it needs to get updated, but also because I believe it is one of the better sleeper ships out there for people to use, and it should get really better. It's like the Dauntless, kind of like the Dauntless.
But it clearly needs an update because it doesn't have skins. It's the only ship left. Let's bring it onto the board. That's why I'd like to bring it on, because then they're forced to work on it, which basically means they've got to bring it up to speed. And then we can start going back like next year and we can do the PTV again because they've taken too long.
So what's going to happen now that we've said this out loud in July or in June, almost July, is that someone at CIG is going to watch this and they're going to immediately tell marketing, and they're gonna ban the Gladiator from competition starting in January when they make the announcement. That's what's going to happen. Because
it'll be in August, won't it? But
I think it's end of July because the actual voting starts August 31st. So I think the actual contention, like you start releasing stuff, is in July. So,
but even a variant of the Gladiator that was a fighter would work as well, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to do an onboarding task, go do the Gladiator because I actually reckon that would be really cool. Like a bomber variant and a fighter variant. I reckon that'd be very popular. That ship has actually affected so many looks of other Anvil ships. It's kind of insane. Like the landing gear on the Carrack clearly is inspired by the landing gear on the Gladiator, and there's just some things that it does that none of the others do. It's just got some really cool features.
The Hawk's like geometry is very similar to the Gladiator. The Gladiator's entryway is the same as the Hurricane.
Oh yeah,
they have the same entryway. You get into the ship the same way.
Hawk as well, right?
Yeah, same with the Hawk.
Yeah, and the Hawk
as well. Yeah.
And it was the first ship to have that entry because the Gladiator was like the third or fourth ships into the arena commander. I remember because you could use
it really doesn't work for two people just because of how intricate that thing is, and it has to overlap. So
yeah. But yeah, it's clear that there's a lot of like the DNA of Anvil's design style in Star Citizen from the developers comes from the Hornet and the Gladiator. Those are the two major influences because they're the first.
It would be I'd have to double check this, but it'd have to now be the oldest not updated ship. I could be
next to the Aurora.
But I'd have to check.
But the Aurora actually has skins, whereas the Gladiator doesn't. So, all right. If you want me to go over the rest, I can go over what I think is going to actually happen, though.
Please.
Yeah, so what I think is actually going to happen is I think the Polaris and the Idris will either go head to head or they'll be put in a position where they're going to lose. So that
what about size, Paul? You don't think that they're too big and not enough people will own them?
CIG loves to take, for whatever reason, they love to put a big ship because they think a big price tag on the as a winner, people will buy it because people won't buy it as $600 ship. But if they get a $600 ship and a skin and then a little backpack, people will suddenly purchase it because CIG doesn't know how impulse buys work. But
why don't they just make a new skin every year for every ship then, if that's the case? God, jeez.
That's my point. I think they're going to rig the bracket so at least one of those two ships will win. And I think even if they didn't, both of those ships would win anyways because people love the Polaris and people love the Idris. I do think, even if they don't own them, I do also think though that the the Golem is going to win. I don't think it's going to win, but it's going to make it to the top 4 because the people love that little ship. They fucking love that little ship.
I don't understand that.
If it was just the last 12 months, it's been the only interesting ship in the last 12 months.
And it's because of that, it's got a lot more attention. More people who do industry will draw themselves to that because, you know, it's
well you look at the new ships, right? Because I don't count any of the side grades. I'm not a big fan of the side grades as it's known, right?
Yeah.
But you've got the Star Lancer that came out, and it just, I'm sorry, I know there's a lot of people that love it, but it just landed really badly. It's poorly designed. The Idris, we've seen that for years and years and years. So it, yeah, cool, it's here, but it wasn't that interesting to me. And then what was there was one other ship.
The Polaris.
But anyway, yeah, the Polaris, it's a bit the same for me because it's kind of a little bit like the Idris where we've seen
Guardian.
it a lot.
That's new.
Yeah, that's new as well, but I just it didn't land how I thought it was going to land.
Because you thought it was going to be a Fat Fury?
So I thought it was going to land like this?
No.
Well, I thought it would be like a meat. Well, again, if you look at the design of it versus, say, the MX, right? One looks like a medium fighter and the other looks like a heavy fighter, but they're both heavy fighters. It's kind of strange to me. And again, what the hell is the difference between the Guardian and the Guardian Quai? Like, why? There's just no reason for them both to exist. Like just make one. It feels like they were going to do something way more grand, and they fucked it up, and so they pivoted, and they knew they had this other variant, and that's why it has different guns. It feels like that whatever was the Guardian versus the Guardian Quai was pushed onto the Guardian MX. And again, they went all that effort to remodel the MX. Does that mean we're getting another variant of the MX down the line?
Oh, we will. We will. Yeah. CIG has been reusing
racing
holes.
Guardian.
I mean, the fact that we're going to get 2 different versions of the Mantis in the next 12 months. We're going to get the Meteor and then
the Meteor, yeah.
And the other one is the salvage ship. The salvage ship that's going to be like the starter, like the Golem is to mining. They're going to get an RSI. That's based off of the same hull.
That'll still be at least 18 months away from.
That is going to be a while.
Though, so that's.
That'll be a freaking weird shit because you need like a lot of infrastructure at the front to have all the articulating the arms and the tractor beams and everything, but the front of the Mantis is just cockpit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Mantis. It's a whole new concept.
But they're using the Mantis as the base.
It's a different.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, again, go look at the concepts. There's 3 drastically different concepts.
Yeah.
And they are unique. One of them looks like a rip of the Pisces, to give me an example. So, yeah, it's a new RSI ship, a new frame.
Chat is saying it's not. Chat's saying it's not based off the Mantis. I thought they mentioned that it was going to be based off the Mantis, and then also the Comet was based off the Mantis. Maybe it was just the heavy fighter. That's the Comet, or not the Comet. Is the Comet?
Meteor.
The Comet. Yeah, the Comet's.
Comet
is the Saber. Yeah, my brain.
I'm gonna send you a link from Reddit, Paul. This is the RSI salvages, just so Daj can have a look as well. But they're the 3 concepts they showed, and you can see one is almost like a Nomad, one is almost like a Pisces, and yes, there is one that's a little bit inspired by the Mantis.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, that's probably the better one.
So you can see this one. This one's the Mantis. This one's
I love the one on the right.
Yeah.
It's like the Nomad. Yeah.
So
yeah, the one on the right, it reminds me of something like Out of Descent or something.
I'm sure they'll come up with something cool.
Very, very sleek. Like that feels very fast. It's not very utilitarian. That looks very fast to me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I like the one on the left, the one that looks sort of like the Mantis, only because that also looks like a chunky boy that can do some salvaging.
It needs to be a bit of armored, doesn't it? Like it needs a bit of
It needs to look like it flies through.
Spat in my face.
Yeah, I fly through debris fields to get the good shit. You know.
Yeah.
But it also needs like a good interior for like inner workings. So and Mantis is very like. It has the interior for living in, and then it has all the bits attached to it. There's not much bulk to it.
Yeah.
What would you call it? The RSI Ant? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what you'd call it. Like, I need to think of a name.
Scrapper?
Well,
Well, technically, RSI is meant to be constellations, like star constellations, and there
Yeah.
is an insectoid nebula, but not a mantis. So I can see where the name came from. And there's a Scorpio, but not a Scorpius. So they are bending the words.
Mhm.
but they
I'm
also
sure we
have
could
the
go out there and have a
Arastras.
look.
That's neither.
Yes.
Not, they're there,
Yeah.
so they could just.
They're
go with
breaking their
something.
own. Yeah, they're
Rules.
breaking their own law again.
No, but
we,
you
that
don't
was a
have
big.
to.
That was a big thing we learned at CitizenCon that really destroyed Algorithm like a little bit in his heart was that they just make things and then the law team like bend everything to fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's fine. It's like if you have a good idea, you should go with a good idea. You should have to be like restrained by some arbitrary law, because even modern day like car manufacturers, they will constantly update their naming schemes and their design language to go with what's
New and fresh.
currently sells.
Yeah.
And what's fresh, what's good, what's new, instead of just okay. Ford almost died because all they
Edsel?
wanted to do was the Mustang.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
I think you should call it the Stella. RSI Stella.
Alistar Stiller.
Mm.
I think
Like as in like as meaning rebirth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because of salvage. RSI Stella. I don't know. I just looked that up and that's what Google AI told me. Yeah.
Yeah, but Google AI crap because Stella just means star in Latin.
Yeah.
Well, that works as
then
well,
you'll-
doesn't it? Star of the show.
But in terms of like, I'm trying to think of what else, but I do think the Golem is going to be the top 4, just because I know a lot of people don't, but there's a lot of people who like it. But I don't know. The Guardian probably is going to make the top 16 because there are people who like the Guardian, and I've flown the Guardian enough to know that ship feels good. And
tell me this: am I wrong in saying the Star Lancer won't make it?
I think you are wrong, but I only think partially, because I think a lot of people, myself included, like the Star Lancer, and enough that it's going to get it. The question is I don't know if it's going to be the Star Lancer or the Star Lancer TAC, which will.
I feel like it's going to be the TAC because it's more versatile.
Yeah.
Max is just a hauler. But
not
definitely
calling it that.
when base building comes in, the build is going to.
Oh, the build is going to win.
Yeah.
The build is going to be the huge. Everyone's going to love the build.
The build is the whole reason they build it for too. They told us that.
Jin does have a good point. Like we're talking top 16, top 4, top 1. You say make it. I think you mean 16, right? The top 16.
Top 16.
I don't.
Top 16.
Don't get me wrong. I don't think the Star Lancer is going to win top 4. Like there just doesn't have enough. It doesn't have juice. It doesn't have the juice. It doesn't have the sauce to get to the top 4.
It's a big.
Yeah,
it's a big boy that just has a lot of extra space for no reason, and that's like again, like I'll give you a real simple one. Like we talked about the TAC. Why the hell does it have the corridors all the way around the hangar and the hangar elevated when they could have just made it a bigger hangar?
Yeah.
And you walk straight through it. Yet they literally have a hospital below, and you walk straight through from the garage.
Yeah.
through a medical area. Like come on, like you can't have it both ways. Take your pick.
Yeah, no, but you should have it the exact opposite. You should have to go around the medical and then through the hangar. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. You can't do that.
There is going to be a sleeper this year, I think, though. There is a sleeper. It's the raft.
Oh, because it got the good update.
It got the good update. A lot of people like the raft. It is so much better than it was now that it's a 196 and has its own tractor beam and stuff like that. Like a lot of people love that overhaul.
It's not just like 3 containers. It's a full bed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just wish you could put like icties on it.
You can
be in an icty as
you can't be in it though.
Yeah. Be in an icty as it's on the platform and then jump, and it would have to flip you, and then you then you start falling.
I can get behind the raft. I think the change on that raft though is really obvious that it something's changed from what its original role was intended to be.
I know you like the sky crane idea, but like I think for its
you go look at that terminal now that was there, and it is all blocked off, and there is no reason for it to exist anymore.
Yeah.
The whole would work as an NPC ship, something in the background that's just to give activity to a location, but not as a player ship.
I think that was the original intent of it, and then as things moved along with cargo, they've realized just having a wall and just unloading it straight onto the wall was quicker, and it just made that ship really unnecessary. But I think that was the original plan. Again, that's why it's under Argo. Argo were the logistic moving people, and now it's just become. Well, again, think about it. It originally carried 332 SOS containers. Now it can carry anything.
Yeah.
Why did they do that? Because the thoughts of the game have changed. That's why.
Yeah.
And I'm all for it.
All right. That's
that traitor. He's in chat. Look, traitor's in chat.
Grim was supposed to be on here, but Grim had other obligations, and I asked him, and he was like, "Yeah, maybe," and then couldn't quite make it. So
had to go to a kid's birthday party. Well, that kid could cry for 5 minutes waiting on it.
I think it's his own daughter, so it's a little different.
No, it was his nephew. It was his nephew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, nephew's fine.
Yeah.
Anywho,
he's just making excuses. He doesn't want to be here. I know him too well.
I do want to finish off with by asking chat, and of course, you at home, if you're watching this after the fact, your own thoughts on both. What were we talking about? I forgot. Ship Showdown. Ship Showdown. Ship Showdown. In terms of like how it's currently structured, how you change it, and then of course your thoughts on the what ships would you like to, or do you think are going to make it, and of course what do you want? I don't think I asked Darge this. What ship do you want to win Ship Showdown? Me and X said Gladiator. Is there any specific ship? Because you have a unique perspective because you do a lot of modeling for ships. So.
Yeah,
you have some data that we're not into either.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say I want the MPUV to win just because so it could get a fucking gold pass that only the tracker has got, but not the cargo or the other one.
The personnel.
But that's already won, so that's gonna happen. Yeah. Oh god.
Well, the MPUV one is the king. Everything else is simply just second place. We've already decided that the MPUV is the best ship in the game. We made that decision a couple years ago, and you can never be unthroned. So, it is the God Emperor of Ship Showdown.
Yeah. From all the ships right now, I really have no other than the TAC, which I really love for the interior and the multi-purpose nature of the new ones. I really have no pull to any of the other ships. I was hoping the Galaxy would be out by now.
Yeah. I mean, if the Perseus was out, I would have been pulling hard for the Perseus. Or if the Ironclad was out, I'd be pulling hard for the Ironclad.
Don't worry.
You know.
That both those will be in contention next year. Don't you worry.
They're going to be hard because they're going to be head-to-head with each other next year.
But isn't the Pioneer supposed to also come out within 12 months?
12 to 18.
It'll probably be the end of next year for the Pioneer. Yeah. I think it will miss next year. So it'll be the year after.
So we'll have 2027 Showdown for the Pioneer win, because that is going to be
that'll win.
Just a dream for someone.
By then, this will be a totally different beast because there'll be so much more people following the game. If Squadron is out by then, you got to imagine how much this game is going to grow.
It'll be out by then.
This community is going to go nuts. Once Squadron is out, this whole thing's going to change.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to have two different shows. They're gonna have to have the best in the fleet and best in show.
It won't be me and you, Dodge, that are on here. It'll be like some other two massive streamers that no one knows at the moment.
I won't even be here. It'll be someone else doing this.
Yeah, they're gonna replace us all with younger, sexier models. Yeah,
is that a fat joke?
Yeah, I'm huge. How about you?
But yeah, so like I said, I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below, and of course, chat who is your pick for best in show, and then make sure you check out jrdf.sc to find out some of those models to see what and check out.
I was supposed to be doing new photos for the Raven kit today, but I completely whipped on that. So maybe I'll have time before I go to bed to whip some of those out.
I'm with you. I was supposed to have gotten the latest lore video out, but I didn't because I had a headache yesterday, so I don't want to work. And then of course check out
I know
Execute.
that, Cody. That's what the girls tell me all the time. I've got a headache.
Yes.
I know that excuse. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why she hasn't been putting out any videos. Yeah,
Exactly.
I do have an excuse, though, partially because I can't really bring Ship to it, but I decided to be stupid and for some reason, whatever reason, I think I saw something. I'm like,
it's
neat.
always a good choice, by the way.
To get a my headset back on, my VR headset to try it out again. And so I reset it up and I played around with it for like 2 hours, and then I have a headache for the rest of the day. It's like, God damn it, I forgot how much this thing fucks with my brain. So but anyways, check also Execute, myself and Info Runners. You can check that out there. Do you have something else, X, before we finish up?
I was just, someone said the Zeus. I'm actually surprised that didn't get up back when it came out.
Oh, nobody mentioned the Zeus. Yeah.
No, someone just mentioned in chat then.
That's
the Zeus is talking about a fall from grace, baby. That thing fell from grace so hard because
why though?
Well, the transport version, the transport version's cargo grid sucks. It's awful.
The CL.
Yeah, the CL, and everyone wanted the CL.
They wanted the ship really pokey. Like, we talked to them, they said they wanted it even more pokey. And we're like, but it's a 3-person ship, and I can't even walk past people in the corridor.
Yeah.
And they said they did that deliberately. They wanted it to feel like a modern ship because they'd taken an old design of the original Zeus and then made it to their modern timeline, but they wanted it to feel like our time. Because let's be honest, that is how they are now. They're very bare essentials, but that's how they wanted it to feel. But I think when you look at that and then you look at other things like the Spirit and the Cutlass and all those other ones, you just go, I don't want to put up with this annoying pokiness. And I just I
think the CL
mention like the Freelancer Max and the cargo on that, the cargo on the Spirit, there's just so much easier to load. It goes on and on.
Yeah.
I once put 132 SU of cargo into a Spirit. It has a grid of 464.
Yeah, I mean the same thing with you can fit like 400 to 500 cargo into a
very
Star
inefficient
Max.
Space in the C1.
Yeah.
Did you name this ship the Pandora or like the telephone box, the doctor's box? Like, what'd you call it?
You have stuff on the left and you have stuff on the right, right?
Yeah.
And in the C1, and the corridor in the middle, exactly the same size
as the 32 SU crates. Yeah. So you can
true.
So you can fit 4 SCU or 4 32.
And you have ceiling room. You can put like the thin ones, like the 4 SCU ones, on top of those.
Yeah. So.
And then in the airlock as well. So
I can tell you, I own a C1, and it's probably going to be the only ship down that bottom area that I keep. I just use it so much. It is so convenient. It's so easy to use. Yes, it's bigger than it needs to move, but it's fast. It's really good at A to B. If I want to go somewhere, because it defaultly comes with a B military drive, boom, I'm there. It's
the Emperor.
It's super convenient. Yeah, it's
like you
have
the Avenger as the Penguin and the C1 as the Emperor
Penguin.
Yeah, I immediately saw it as a clear big brother to the Avenger.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm going to end this because we're going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to be moving on to doing the question and answer session, the After Darsh section, where we talk a little, take questions from the community itself. If you're watching this live, don't go anywhere. Just put in brackets question and then ask a question, and we'll pick it up for you. I'll double check to make sure everything is working. It is on and working. I want to see if we have any questions. I don't think we saw many. So
Eagles fixed it. I got on wing.
Okay, we have a few questions, so feel free to ask those questions. And yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. If you want to watch us live, we do this at twitch.tv/theastropub and youtube.com/@the Captain's Table Podcast on Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. We'd love to have you come join us live.
6 a.m.
AEST, and then
10 p.m. Central.
Yeah,
European time.
10 p.m. Central European. So it's generally speaking at a time period which is you could be awake, probably. But other than that, thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Follow us on YouTube. Twitch, and hit the bell icon and the like button on YouTube if you want to help promote this to more people. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.
Vote Gladiator.